So while we're getting settled, you could take a blanket, if you have a blanket or a towel or two, and roll it up. And you could roll it from the long side, like kind of fold it into a rectangle, and then roll it up. So it ends up, whatever you got, make it kind of a small bolster situation. Just a roll of a blanket or a towel, could be a blanket from your couch, whatever you got. And then up to you, you could do it a number of ways. You could do the blanket horizontally, and you could have your whole spine on the blanket, or you could do it, sorry, that vertically. Well, or you could do it horizontally there, that's better. And you could put it either under your low back, under your sacrum, almost like a little tiny baby supported bridge, or under your shoulder blades, under your armpits and your heart. So a number of options here. Basically, the idea is take a blanket and lay on it, and you can't get it wrong. Any which way you do it is good.
Okay, but we're
As you lie there on your blanket, over your blanket, under your blanket, however it may be, it just invites you to let your attention begin to travel along your outer body. Let it just sort of move and dance along your skin. And what I would love for you to do is to try to notice anywhere on the surface of your body that you feel energy. And energy, we might have different definitions of that as well. So, whatever you imagine I mean by that word, your definition of energy. And it might feel like heat, it might feel like thoughts, it might feel like a tightness in the body. It could feel like all kinds of different things. But just letting the light of your awareness touch different parts of your body. And then also, there's one more part to this, is that when you do notice any feeling of energy, stop there and try to draw it down and into your body. Whatever you might notice, feel on the surface of you, see if you can allow it to sink in. Trying to draw whatever feeling you got on the surface, trying to draw it down and into your depths. There's no wrong way to do this, by the way. And you might not feel anything, and that's totally acceptable as well. Just a few more breaths here. We do find something, a feeling, an energetic quality, a tightness, a temperature related, heat or cold on the body, a tingling or effervescence somewhere on the body, and you imagine letting it sink down and into you. You could take that one step further. What does that look like? If you tried to picture that energy as it settles and sinks and seeps into your inner body, does it have a color? What other qualities might it have? Is it bright or dark, fast or slow? Does it have a shape? So I am offering this up with the idea that in a lot of yoga classes, spiritual practices, meditations, and such things, we're sort of told about energy and chakras and channels and all kinds of other things like that. And this is what it looks like or where it is. And this part of your body is related to the color red or, orange. But I invite you to just wipe your slate clean of all of that stuff because that's just, somebody's idea, but it may not be what's true for you. And I just invite you for this last moment here to just do a sweep now through your inner body, underneath the skin, in your depths, and to try to locate anywhere that you feel energy and what its qualities are. If it does have a temperature, a color, a light, a shape, it might look like a lotus flower, might look like who knows, a bunny rabbit. But what's your own personal experience of your own personal body's energy? And I encourage you, invite you to sort of stay with that idea as we move today. And so you could start to blink your eyes if they were closed and let your fingertips wiggle. They could even trail, like the tip of the thumb trails along the tips of all the other fingers. And notice what you feel there. Does that have a quality? Does it have a temperature? Does it feel bright or dark? As you start to move your small joints, you could bend your wrists and roll them around your ankles, and then eventually the bigger ones, the elbows and the knees. Feeling perhaps a lighting up of your personal electricity. What does that feel like? Where do you feel it the most? And then you could take yourself up to sit. So, however you get there, maybe you roll off to the side. It depends on how you had your blanket. If you need any wiggling as you come up, that was a while to be in that shape. So, you could come up and shake off the dust and wiggle it around a little bit. And you could join me in chanting and Om and inviting you here as well to notice, this is the thing we do in yoga. And I wonder if you could really sense it from inside your body instead of just this thing we tell you to do, because that's what you do in yoga. But to feel it as a vibration and notice where it might travel inside your body. And you could just listen to it, you don't have to sing. But either way, you could sit up really tall and well and take a deep breath in. Oh. And then if you've got a block, we'll use it. And if you don't, you can stack up a couple of books and maybe even put a towel or a blanket over top of it so it's a little bit softer. Starting just a little bit slower today. So taking the block, going a little bit slower in general so we can really be attuned to that idea of our amazing inner world. So block, I'm going to put it on its medium side here, but you might like it on its taller side or even on its shorter side. So you can experiment. So coming onto the belly and then crisscrossing the arms, putting the right arm in front. So right arm on top, left arm underneath. And it might be even enough that you just lean on your elbows like a sphinx pose, but with your arms doing a little bit of crisscross. And then you could play with it and kind of scooch out little by little and see if there's room for the hands to move further away from each other. And then perhaps the forehead to the block, but anywhere in between there and along the way there is good. I love how Sandra talks about it like train stops. If this is the stop on your train, this is a good one to be at. You don't have to take it to the end of the line, but you could. Okay. And then letting the weight of your body just drop. I know for me personally, many parts of my body are often in a sort of reflexive low grade fight or flight, especially in this weird world we're living in right now. So just doing a scan, going back in. You could do the outer body scan if that's helpful to try to find anywhere that you notice sensation on your periphery and try to let it sink down in. And let that kind of pull your attention away from the outside. And it's not just sensation, it could be thoughts too, right? If you notice thoughts, where? Do they just feel like they're in your head, or are they located somewhere on your body? And even those, you could imagine them seeping down and in. And so you've got your right arm in front here. So what you're going to do next is take your right knee. You can pick your head up off the block if it was on there, and just bring your right knee, slide it up towards the outside of your body, almost like you're coming into like a little half frog, but we won't be here too long. And then you can pull the right arm out, roll over the back of the left shoulder, and just fall into a twist on your back. And if it didn't happen just like that, don't worry about it. And anyway you get there, you're in some sort of a good morning twist where you can pendiculate around a little bit, just stretch out your bones and tissues and pull your limbs apart and wiggle what needs wiggling. Get the sleep off, shake all the sleep off. And then we'll roll over back onto the belly. As you come onto the belly, bring your elbows to the floor, just regular Sphinx now. So the forearms are down and the fingers are pointing straight ahead. And as you come into this really noble and dignified shape, just checking in again, just doing that lovely scan, outer body and inner body. If you do feel something, sensation, tightness, pressure, where's its epicenter? And could you allow it to move from the periphery more into the core, from the edges to your center? And then we'll do one more thing in this little sequence on the belly here. So you can take your right arm, stretch it straight out to the side horizontally, and then slide your left hand back next to your chest. Gonna bend the left knee and roll right over that right side body in this little broken wing. If you want, you could put your head on the block or just let it fall towards the floor. And then you're in charge here, right? So you could pick up that right arm if you want to feel more. You pick up the shoulder a bit, the bottom one, and scooch it away. Walk the hand a little further away or a little further up. And you can play with how much sensation you feel and what's just the right dose for you. And then please do try to let the weight of your body just release as best as possible. It may not be possible to release all the way. Just trying to soften those parts that might be gripping, that might be sort of turned on for no reason. Always helps to try to relax the breath. Simple. You could do that by extending the exhale, or you could do that by softening your throat a little bit. Take another breath here, and then go ahead and just come on back to your belly, and we'll do all of that on the other side. And so you can have your block in front of you if you like it for those crisscrossed arms. Left arm will be in front this time, and you might have your forearms just stacked sort of one on top of the other and be in a really lovely and gentle back bend here. If you want to get closer to the floor, you start to move the hands away, any amount, even the tiniest little bit. If you want to put your head on the block, you let it drop, and then you just do your very best here to let the weight of your body be taken by gravity. Get out of your own way for a minute, right? To loosen the grip, undo the muscles from the bones. Slide the breath right underneath your skin. Trying to take anything you're feeling or thinking, bring it in and down. Now, as you prepare to transition to the next shape here, start to slide your left knee up towards the outside of your hip. And as you pull the left arm out, unthread, roll across your upper back into your version of a twist. And then let it just sort of organically come to its easiest place, right? Where does the body want to live right now if you don't force it too much? If it's not a big wrestling match or demand, can it find its way here? Spill back over onto your belly. Take your elbows to the floor. Sphinx pose. You can really imagine almost like grabbing fistfuls of earth, feeling the quality of energy in your hands, both soft and strong at the same time, and how that helps the heart grow like the sun rising in the center of the chest. Feel the heart start to get brighter, front and back and sides, and even under the armpits. Could you imagine a little more brightness? And then we'll take the left arm, stretch it straight out horizontally to the side. Slide the right hand back next to your chest. As you let your head and chest come down, bend your right knee. And you can push with that right hand, roll right over the edge of you, stepping that right foot down perhaps if it reaches the floor, and then making your own adjustments so that you feel like this is sustainable. Not going to be forever, but enough that you could really find that dropping of your weight, let gravity have you. Soft throat, soft belly. And then bring it on back to center as you roll onto your front side again. This time, go ahead and come on up to all fours. And you may want to block handy here too. We'll come into a puppy pose. It's kind of early in this whole situation, so let's not make it like, 110% puppy. Let's make it like an 80 or even a 60% of your maximum puppiness, okay? So your butt stays in the air, your arms can walk out. You can let the spine drape, kind of like a little string of Christmas lights. If you want to use support, you can put it under your head, you could put it under your chest, you could use a bolster if you've got one. You always have the opportunity to bring the floor to you. Stack up as many things as you need to. And then doing your best here to just let the spine just dangle. And then coming back to that idea of your energy. Maybe you do feel your chakras. Maybe you feel spinning things inside of you and flowers opening or closing. But I really hope that you're feeling your experience. And then we'll go slowly through this transition. You can start to draw yourself back to all fours. Just swing your feet. I'm going to mirror you. Swing your feet over to the right and sit back behind or sit back to the left side of your feet. So you end up kind of side saddle, right? So feet are over to the right. Knees are pointing maybe a little bit to the left, and we'll twist. So taking the left hand behind you, cross the right arm over. Just a little spiral twist here, and the head can go in the same direction as the spine. Or as an experiment, you might turn it the other way. Let your right ear drop off towards your right shoulder and lengthen the left side of your neck. And you'll keep your hands like that. Actually, you can let the back hand go, but keep your right hand on your knee here as you untwist and look back towards center. Take your right leg, stretch it away from you. So you end up in this long leg, one long leg, kind of Janu Shirshasana position. The right hand is still on the knee. The left arm reach over the ear and go sideways. And so there's a bit of an obstacle here, right? You can't go quite to the place where you might usually go without that hand on the knee, but it also gives you some good ground. So I'm going to hold on to stretch away from, lengthening both sides of the body. Imagine all those sinewy muscles between your ribs going diagonally this way and that way, crisscrossed on top of each other. Can you imagine your breath going right into those? And all those sinewy muscles, especially on the left side, going, ah. And then coming up, keep your hand on the knee. Bring your left hand to your right shoulder. And then pick up your right hand and bring it to your left shoulder. And like you're taking off your shirt, like an imaginary strip tease, you can pick your elbows up really, really high. Let your hands sort of like dance and slide along the arms, the skin, or the shirt as you unfold your arms up to the sky. And as you reach all the way up, hook your thumbs and spread out your fingers. Make a big circle with your torso. And do that by feeling the ground to press your lower body down to help support this big soft circle. You've got feather fingers, just tracing feather fingers through the sky. When you reach the end of that circle, change directions. Breath like water, feeding those muscles between the ribs, softening that whole structure that holds your heart. When you reach the top, hook the thumbs and stretch up. Try to pull the rib cage up away from the pelvis. And keep the thumbs hooked. And now tip sideways over that right leg. Use the thumbs hooking here as a way to draw the upper body out of the pelvis. Try to lengthen that right side. Can your skin still stay a little soft? Come all the way back up. Let your arms drop. As your arms drop, you can just bring your hands behind you and step your feet to the floor in front of you. So you come into a little, we're going to get ready for boat pose. That's where we're going. And so lifting your legs up, they can be bent or they can be straight. And then actually, you know what? Sit down for a second. I want to show you what we're going to do and then we'll do it, okay? Because it involves a little bit of rolling around. So we're in this little boat pose and we're going to go little crisscross action of the feet. I'm going to touching opposite foot and then turning a wide-legged plank from the ground, coming all the way up into a wide plank and back down, go back around and touch, around. So let's try that. We're going to do it 2 times each side, okay? So you're in little Navasana, a little friendly boat. Doesn't have to be anything extreme. Any foot, doesn't matter. You choose. Touch, little crisscross, touch. And then roll over one hip, wide-legged plank from the ground. Come all the way up. Doesn't have to be pretty. Go all the way down. Roll back around, right up into little friendly Navasana and touch, roll the other way, widen your feet, come from the ground, slow elevator up and elevator down, roll back over. We'll do it one more time, each side, and around you go. You got it, yeah. Wide feet as you come up from the ground to plank and then back down. And then last time you'll come around, do a little crisscross, touch. Roll it over onto the belly. Woo! Press down, rise up to plank, lower back down, roll it back. As you roll it back, you can just come down onto your back, hug your knees into your chest, do a little bit of a rock. And then just mini Shavasana for a moment. Just stretch out your legs, drop your arms. If you're not comfortable on your back, no problem. You could do it on your side. Trying to find anywhere on the surface of your body that you feel energy, sensation, thoughts, vibrations, heat, tightness. What does it feel like? And then try to bring it down and in. Imagine it seeping into you. And you could imagine what it looks like, the energy inside you. Does it have a color, a temperature, a shape? What's its qualities? Go ahead and hug your knees in. You could rock up to sit or rock off to the side and up to sit. Swing your legs around behind you. Coming back to puppy. It starts all over from puppy pose. So you're on all fours. You got your block if you want to have something for support underneath you. Start to spread your arms forward and lower your chest down. Any little bit counts, any bit towards the floor. Invite your breath to be a little more exhale focused and see how that changes the quality of energy in your personal body. As you start to draw your arms back and come back towards all fours, swing your feet to the left and sit back so that you end up sitting to the right side of your feet. They're over there mirroring you. Right hand behind you, left hand to right knee. Twist, Bharadvajasana it's called. The head can do that kind of sexy little counter twist. Left ear drops to left shoulder. You expose the soft long side of your neck. And then keeping your hand on your knee, just right yourself again, turn back towards center, stretch out that left leg, stretch it out to the left side. And with the hand on the knee for support, take a side bend. Right arm comes like a crescent moon. Did you see the moon last night? Amazing. A little tiny sliver. So be really soft and shimmery like the crescent moon. And then you keep your hand on the knee just for one more transition, floating back up, right hand to left shoulder, and now left hand to right shoulder. And then you take your top off, not for real, unless you really want to, you can turn your camera off. But lift and go slow, make it a sensual experience. Just let your feather fingers trace along your skin, hook your thumbs, maybe put the other thumb in front this time, big circle with the upper body. Draw yourself through the sky here. Remind yourself that you're not in any rush. Go the other way. Or feeling that you're descending, right? You're rooting down through the legs. You might also feel a sense of ascending as you reach up through the arms and the fingers. Come back to the top. But can you also feel a sense of transcending? Of going across, of being wide, that as you breathe, you feel your width. Go ahead and take a side bend with your thumbs hooked, reaching up through the arms and all 8 fingers that are out there in the air, trying to turn your chest any little bit towards the sky without the skin getting too hard. And then as you come all the way back up, let the arms release. Take a moment, just feel what you feel. Bring your hands behind you, draw the legs in, and one more time, just like we did before, so no surprises. Come into your friendly little boat and do a little crisscross tap. 1, 2, 3, and roll over from the ground, come up to plank, and then back to the ground. Roll it over and tap, tap, tap. Back around you go, up in a wide plank, and then down to the floor. One more time, each side. Go ahead. And you could go faster if you want to. If you want to slow it down, you could slow it down. We will all meet on backs in little mini shavasana. So when you get there, and just let it drop. Feel what you feel wherever you feel it. Stole that from Madonna's personal trainer, Tracy Anderson. Not a yoga move, but it works. So while you're on your back here, you can take your feet to the floor in a bridge pose setup. So have your feet about as wide as your hips. You can bring your arms down by your side. And just one little friendly introduction to bridge. So just go ahead and lift your pelvis up, peel your spine up just for a breath. We'll just bring it up and then let it just drip right back down. And then we'll do that one more time. So go ahead and pick up the pelvis. This time you can bring your hands underneath you and rock your body a little bit side to side so that you might be able to clasp your hands under your back and really wiggle your upper arms under the back of your heart and stay for a couple of breaths. Feel the parts of you that touch the ground, allow them to sink down and in. Feel parts of you that face the sky and the space around you. Let them both ascend and transcend as your feet and your arms and the back of your head and shoulders descends. Can you, while you're here, uninterlace your hands, hook your thumbs, and press your palms down? So you're still in bridge, but palms face down to the floor underneath you and the thumbs are hooked. And then try to lower your back down onto your arms so that you end up sitting. Some amount might be just a little bit. You might get a lot of your arms underneath you, but you're sitting or laying on your arms. You could stretch your legs out. And just to be here laying on your hands or fingers or whatever you can get underneath your butt or thighs or back, just to lay on it and for a moment, maybe even to delight in that feeling of compression. Body loves this. Your tissues love, you hear me say this all the time, you all know that, but squishing is your body's best friend. And then we could try a fish pose from here. So let your legs get pretty active. Might be helpful to flex the feet so that you can really press down into the backs of the heels and backs of the legs. Press into the elbows and start to pick the heart up. You could tip the head back so that the back of your head or maybe the crown or maybe even towards the forehead starts to come resting on the floor. Even a little bit will do. You can also do the imaginary version and just lay there with your arms happily under your body. And then come on back out. So pressing into the elbows and the forearms to release the head back down to the floor. Stay like that. Can you keep your arms underneath you? And you could try to keep your thumbs hooked. This is just a maybe. We'll just see what happens. But thumbs still hooked and arms underneath. As you roll over your left side body onto your belly, and if the thumbs need to come unhooked, you unhook them. And then we could take a locust pose, either thumbs hooked or not, arms, legs, head, and chest, all lifting away from the floor. Long spine, a teeny little tuck of the chin, so there's graciousness, spaciousness, length all around the neck. And then before you come down, lift up just a little bit more. You might keep your thumbs hooked, just a suggestion, but you could try as you come back down and roll right back to where you were on the back. Big breath in here and a big exhale. Feel the weight of your body on your arms, on the earth. And then thumbs hooked or not, we'll go the other way, rolling over the right side onto your belly, where you could repeat. You could take that locust pose again, or this time you might bend ankles and perhaps hold on to the ankles or feet and take a bow pose. See which way your body feels most happy and supported, taken care of. And just like before, you could come up just a little bit more before you gently let it come down. If you want to rehook your thumbs behind you, you could. So that one final time you could roll over onto your back. Feel the weight of your body on your arms. Even if your thumbs aren't hooked, you could get your arms under there again. I have never shoveled so much in my entire life as I did these last 2 days. So that's why you're getting this, because my wrists are killing me. But everybody's wrists delight in this kind of compression. Go ahead and release. You could shake from side to side to release the arms. And then you could take one more back bend here, and it could be the imaginary one that you just stay lying here and you envision any back bend, or you could take a bridge, or if you feel so inspired, you could plant your palms by your ears and you could come up into the wheel pose, Urdhva Dhanurasana. Wherever you choose to go in this, I invite you back into that experience of kind of dancing your attention along your skin and inviting what you feel to move deeper. Let any sensation, tightness, brightness, let it seep down and into you. What is that experience like in a back bend? And there's no hurry, but when you feel complete, you could come down onto your back And you could take a happy baby. So let the feet float up into the air and either holding on to the edges of the feet or the ankles or even behind your thighs anywhere. Do a little bit of a friendly little rock. And then hugging the knees in to come on up to sit. As you come on up to sit, you can take both legs straight in front of you to start with. And then first, let's take your left leg, bend it, and bring it almost like a half frog here behind you. And so this might already be a precarious situation where you feel like I need support. And if that's the case, take a blanket, a block, you could stick it under your right seat, and that would be really helpful. And so there are lots of options with this shape. If you want more sensation, you would move that left leg back. You could move it back, or you could even bring your hands on the ground and move your whole pelvis and right leg forward. Right? So any amount. So you could be very gentle, or you could move the legs further away from each other. And then perhaps, this is just a maybe, but there could be some room for a bit of a forward fold here. You could fold to the right side of your right leg onto a bolster, blanket, or block if you like. You could fold straight over it. Or if you want more sensation, you could walk around to the left side. You could go more between the legs. And that'll create different, probably more intense, but maybe not sensation. Find a place where you can live, where you can still be aware of your own body's lovely, personal energy. Right? When we bully too much, we lose that. Do you feel that? How if you try really hard, if you get really like in a wrestling match, that sweet sort of shimmer, it disappears maybe. Start. If you were walked around in any direction, you could walk back towards the right leg, and you could use your left hand to bring the knee back in. Rugby used to always say knees should never have a mind of their own. You should always take them with your hand. So you bring your knee in, you could grab it and pull it in. You might want to give it a little hug. That feeling of being so sort of yawn open might be nice to just give that leg a squeeze. And then we'll take that same left leg and drape it over the right leg in a half Gomukhasana here. And you don't have to get like super picky about like knee has to be over knee. Just let it drape wherever it lands. Might be here, might be here, might be here. If you want support underneath the hips, you could try a blanket. And then going just a little bit forward to that first point where your body says, time out, that's good. And when you reach that first point, do a little bit of a side to side wobble, just a little bit of a rock. And notice what that feels like in your low back, if it feels friendly to your low back. Sometimes it's really helpful. At any point, you could give up the rocking and just be still, or if you love the rocking, keep rocking. Go ahead and start to roll the spine back up. If you were in any forward fold as you come on up, you can release your left leg forward. Give your legs a little massage, maybe, or thank you. And we'll do the other side. So the right leg is going to bend. First, it just comes out to the side, and the foot comes pointing behind you. You decide if you want some support underneath the other hip. You can move that knee back in space any amount, or you can use your hands to pull yourself forward any amount. And maybe that's plenty. You got to go little by little. This is a big one. So just, introducing yourself little bits. You could fold to the left over the center or any amount to the right. Might be helpful, especially in a shape that feels sort of uncomfortable or awkward, right? That you could try to find a little comfort even in this awkwardness and try to just keep bringing things from the edges to the center. Letting any discomfort you feel on the surface, try to let it sink down and in. Imagine it like water seeping through your tissues. And maybe that helps it transform. Go ahead and start to come on back. You can use your hand in the back of your right knee to help it forward. You could give it a little thank you hug to that right hip and leg. And as you feel ready, hooking it over the bottom leg and finding a place that fits you well. If you need support, grab it and then folding to some amount, even if it's just an inch or a millimeter, and then adding that sweet little bubble and noticing its effects in your low back, in the back of your left leg, and the outside of your right hip. Where do you feel it? What do you feel? What's its quality? Where do you feel yourself descending? Where are you ascending? Where are you widening, transcending? Go ahead and come on back up. As you come on up, you can unwrap that top leg. Bring both feet to the floor in front of you, the hands behind you. Your feet can be a little wider than your hips, and just let your knees rock from side to side a few times. And then doing the same thing, but you could let yourself down onto your back and let the knees rock side to side. And then you could let the knees just drop. It's kind of interesting, actually, before you stop, keep doing this. And could you really bring your attention inside your body into your hips? And as your knees rock from side to side, try to notice, is there one side of your pelvis, one hip that feels more dense? Is there one that feels more light? One that feels more dark, or one that feels more sparkly? Or what do they feel like? If there is one that feels more light, less dense, notice it. Is it the right hip or the left hip? And if it's the right hip, let's let that right knee drop open and left knee roll in. And if it's the left, vice versa. The left knee will open out, the right knee will drop in. And just stay. Stay. You could let all your joints relax for a moment here. Might be plenty to be here. You could adjust your feet and knee position on the floor. You could move the one that's turned in. You could inch that foot back in space. You'll feel more. Okay, you could inch it forward towards the other knee, and it'll be more like a regular twist that we do. So it's all fair game anywhere at all that knee and foot want to rest. And I'll offer it up here that if you do want to go one more step here, you could pick up the other foot, the leg that's turned out, that's an external rotation. You could pick up that foot and hook it over the opposite knee. But wherever you end up, I do hope it's somewhere that you can find some measure of softness. You can let the weight of your bones drop, tissues slide off the bones, and the skin be really soft. Prepare to come out. You could just turn your knees back up slowly towards the sky. Bring your feet back wide and let your knees go side to side a few more times. Just wash that side off. And then you'll let your knees drop the other direction. And you're choosing to keep them there, or maybe you're scooting that internally rotated leg, you're scooting the foot back or forward or somewhere different. Perhaps hooking foot over knee. Arms can be anywhere that they're happy. Come on back. Come on back. You could windshield wiper a couple more times, or you could hug your knees into your chest. It might feel nice after all that openness to kind of close it up a little bit. And checking in with your own body, your bones, your muscles, your skin, your heart. What do you need here in these final moments of practice? What does your body crave? If it craves an extra long shavasana, you could set up for that, or you could choose another pose or two that best suits your needs here. Might be more active, it might be more passive, might be a meditation. You got a good full 2 minutes, quite a long time. It doesn't sound like much, but it is. So yeah, you could go upside down, you could fold forward. Without any sense of urgency, you could find a resting place. Could be on your back or belly or side. Could even be seated. And you could notice again, first the outer body. Let your attention wander and dance along your skin and edges. curious about what you might find there, curious about sensation, thought, emotion, energy. And one last time together, we'll try to draw it in and down. And imagine it seeping down into you and feeling it perhaps from the inside. Feeling the energy of your whole inner body. Where might you feel it? Where might you not? And it's okay to not. And then you don't have to do any more work. You could just let that go. If you like it, you could keep doing that if it helps you have something to focus on. Otherwise, just a simple act of just, anytime you notice that you're thinking, you get lost in some train of thought, imagine that thought like water seeping down and into the depths of your body, like it's sinking all the way down to the dark bottom of the ocean floor. You can just let your awareness start to filter back into the body, to the room. You might take a deeper breath, feel how your body changes shape as you breathe. And notice the back of your body on the earth, all the places it touches, and what that feels like. And notice the front of your body and the places that face the space around you, and what that feels like. You might notice the right side of your body and let your awareness pour like a waterfall into the right side, and then the left side. And you can feel the midline of you. And notice your root, the space between your sitting bones. And notice your soft, low belly center. Noticing any sensation, any feeling of energy, if it's there or not. And your navel center. Your heart center. your throat center, your mouth, the space between your eyebrows, and the top of your head, your whole body, inner body and outer body. Start to wake up your inner and outer bodies a little more. Wiggle toes, blink eyes, shake out your hands or stretch. No hurry, but as you come up, you can sit in a way that makes you feel bright and supported. You could bring your hands, maybe one on top of the other, to your heart or your belly, or put them together in a prayer, and we could seal it all in with that vibration. Again, more than just a sound, the vibration of Om, and feeling where it hits. Take a deep inhale. Om.